Today, we explore a fascinating question. Are there hidden codes in the Quran that align with modern scientific insights? With AI, we're looking at this subject impartially and logically, free from emotional bias. Our goal is to provide a balanced, evidence-based analysis of the intriguing patterns, structures, and scientific references that some scholars and researchers claim are embedded within the Quran. Let's start with the concept of numeric patterns. In recent decades, researchers have suggested that certain numbers hold special significance in the Quran. For instance, the number 19 has drawn considerable attention due to its presence in several verses and structures within the text. Chapter 74, verse 30 of the Quran specifically mentions the number 19. Over it are 19. While this verse is often interpreted as referring to angels guarding hell, some researchers argue that it also signifies a mathematical structure within the Quran. They point out that various elements in the text, such as the number of letters in certain phrases, the number of verses in some chapters, and even the frequency of specific words, are divisible by 19. Using AI, we can analyze whether these patterns occur consistently and intentionally throughout the Quran, or if they could be attributed to coincidence. AI allows us to calculate patterns quickly, cross-reference occurrences, and assess the probability of intentional design. From a deductive standpoint, the consistent presence of the number 19 could suggest an underlying structure, but the question remains, is it intentional or simply statistical? This debate is ongoing, and we'd love to hear your thoughts. Could this pattern be a meaningful design or a result of natural linguistic variation? Let us know in the comments. Another significant area to examine is the Quran's references to scientific concepts. Supporters of the idea that the Quran contains hidden scientific codes point to verses describing natural phenomena that, they argue, align with discoveries made centuries after the text was revealed. One of the frequently cited examples is the verse describing the expanding universe. In Surah Ad-Dariyat, verse 47, it states, "And the heaven we constructed with strength, and indeed we are its expander." Many interpret this as a reference to the expanding universe, a concept confirmed by modern cosmology only in the 20th century. Using AI to examine the text, we can see that this interpretation depends on translating certain words in specific ways. The original Arabic word musiyun is often translated as expander. However, some linguists argue that it could also mean vast or capable. Inductively, while it's intriguing to find this correlation, we must also ask whether alternative translations could change the interpretation entirely. The AI-assisted analysis of multiple translations and contexts could provide a deeper understanding of whether the text intended to reference cosmic expansion, or if this interpretation is a modern construct. Next, let's look at references to embryonic development. In Surah Al-Mu'minun, verses 12 to 14, the Quran describes the stages of human development, stating that humans are created from a clinging clot, then transformed into a lump, and finally into bones clothed with flesh. Advocates argue that this description aligns closely with modern embryology, where the fetus initially appears as a clot-like structure attached to the uterine wall before developing bones and muscle. Using AI's unbiased analytical power, we can cross-reference this with current scientific knowledge to assess the accuracy and relevance of these terms. From a deductive standpoint, the alignment between the Quranic description and scientific findings could imply foreknowledge. However, it could also be seen as a metaphorical depiction consistent with observations available at the time. Do you think this description points to advanced knowledge, or is it a poetic expression that aligns with science? Let us know in the comments. Another area of interest is the Quran's references to the oceans. Surah Al-Furqan, verse 53, describes the meeting of fresh and salt water. And it is He who has released the two seas, one fresh and sweet and one salty and bitter, and He placed between them a barrier and prohibiting partition. Oceanographers have identified natural barriers where freshwater and saltwater meet, but do not immediately mix due to differences in salinity and density. AI can help us analyze whether this description holds specific scientific accuracy or if it's a general observation that could be interpreted in multiple ways. From an inductive perspective, While it's possible that the Quran reflects an accurate natural phenomenon, we must consider if the wording is specific enough to imply scientific knowledge beyond the time of revelation. Modern AI tools allow us to analyze ancient texts in parallel, helping us explore whether similar descriptions exist in other literature of the time, which could indicate shared observations rather than hidden codes. What's your view? Coincidence or knowledge ahead of its time? Finally, let's examine the Quran's approach to environmental balance. Many verses in the Quran emphasize the importance of preserving the earth, respecting natural resources, and living in harmony with the environment. Surah Al-An'am, verse 141, advises not to be wasteful. Indeed, He does not like the wasteful. This aligns with modern principles of sustainability and environmental ethics, values that have only recently gained prominence. Using AI to cross-reference this with contemporary discussions on environmental ethics, we can see that the Quranic emphasis on balance and conservation resonates with current concerns about climate change and resource depletion. From a deductive standpoint, it's intriguing that a 7th century text would place emphasis on sustainability, an issue so relevant today. But is this foresight or timeless wisdom about living responsibly? What do you think? Drop your perspective below. As we continue to explore these potential codes and hidden insights in the Quran, it's clear that there are multiple ways to interpret these passages. The AI analysis shows that while there are striking parallels between some Quranic verses and scientific findings, interpretations depend on linguistic choices, context, and translation nuances. Some see these as evidence of advanced knowledge embedded in the text, while others believe they are poetic expressions open to various interpretations. If you found this analysis engaging, please like this video and subscribe for more explorations into the intersection of faith, science, and AI-driven analysis. Let us know in the comments. Do you think these examples point to hidden codes and foreknowledge, or are they open to interpretation based on cultural context? And if you know someone who would find this topic intriguing, please share this video with them. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and we look forward to exploring more intriguing questions in the next episode.